Hi there, I'm Teresa James, and I'm your musician for today. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. Welcome to our virtual service today. I forget all the good there is, and that spirit flows through me. I forget that I need faith in my life, and the love that's there for me. I can't remember all the times your love has saved me, and I don't always know what's best for me. Yeah, I forget, but you remind me when I need affection. You give me love when I need proof. You give me faith when I need power. You give me strength, and when I need a little comfort, you give me faith. When I need retribution, you give me grace. When I need something to ease the pain, you heal me. When I need to be reminded, you remind me. When I doubt my direction, and I'm tempted to stray, and I wonder if all my efforts will ever make any difference anyway. When I'm distracted by confusion all around me, and I can't see the love that lights my way. Yeah, when I forget, you remind me. When I need affection, you give me love. When I need proof, you give me faith. When I need power, you give me peace. And when I need a little comfort, you give me strength. When I need retribution, you give me faith. When I need something to ease the pain, you heal me. When I need to be reminded, you remind me. You remind me I'm yours. You remind me I'm safe and secure. You remind me what I don't need. You remind me what I need. You remind me what I need. When I need affection, you give me love. Ooh, when I need proof, you give me faith. When I need power, you give me peace. And when I need a little comfort, you give me strength. When I need retribution, you give me grace. And when I need something to ease my pain, you heal me. When I need to be You remind me. Oh, you remind me.
And you just reminded us. How beautiful. So, Teresa, it's so nice to have you with us today. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles.
Oh, I am thrilled to be here. I'm really
And
happy.
we're thrilled to have you here. I want to introduce you to our community. I met you back in the early part of the summer at the Center for Spiritual Living Granada Hills and just appreciate your talent and your gift and the way that you share your music and your soul. And in our conversation, I said to you, we'd love to have you be a part of our musical team. And today's the kickoff of that. So excited for that. And not only were you there at Granada Hills, but you have a long, rich history in the Centers for Spiritual Living and the New Thought movement as a musician, correct?
That's right. I was music director at the Santa Clarita Center for 12 years. So,
I love it. I love it. And so what that translates to is that's not something you're this teaching is not something you're new to. And as we were talking about earlier this morning and yesterday, is that because you've been around for a while and you do know the music and you do know the teaching, that you love to just let your intuition guide you as to what to sing, and that's just such a testimony to what this teaching is really all about. And so, thank you for letting that happen today, and then letting us be those that get to bear witness to it.
oh, well, I'm happy to be.
Good. Well, wonderful. So we'll see you in just a moment. So we'll bring you back in a moment in the opening ritual. So welcome Teresa James, everyone, through your energy of into the virtual room that we have. See you in a bit, Teresa.
See you soon. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, as I'm sure many of you know, but if you don't, it's my pleasure and honor to be with you here today as we have our Sunday morning virtual celebration service on this day, October 6th of the year 2024. It's wonderful to be back with you, as last week I was away stepping in for our beloved brother, Reverend Dr. Mike McMorrow, as he's on a journey of healing. And it was so fantastic that he was actually at the first service. They did two services. I did two services with him. Um, and he is back in the pulpit just a little bit. So affirmative prayer is indeed working. And so I trust and hope that many of you were able to watch that service online as we connect you to those links and we are able to be of service there. And so it's just a real wonderful thing to have happen. But we're back today. And so it's great to be here, and I welcome and honor each and every one of you for being here today to honor your own selves on your own path of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so whether you're joining us today live through Zoom and or YouTube or at a later date, it's just a pleasure to be with you. And I know and affirm that just where you are, the power of the divine is fully expressed in all of its magnificence, all of its grandeur, and all of its glory. I'm going to place on the screen right now our opening slides. My nose is already itched. That means service is beginning. And let's move into that. And so we are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. As stated just a moment ago, our vision statement is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. We come together and say hello to each other on this day, this very happy day, and acknowledge that the power that exists by means of you and by means of me is an individualized expression of that which is the only power in the universe. We like to call it spirit, life, the thing itself. And one of its ways of expressing is through love. I'll be speaking of love a good bit today. And Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the teaching of the science of mind, defines love as the self-givingness of spirit, whose desire is to create more of itself. And the only way it can do that is out of itself. And it does that through you and through me. As a community, we welcome all races, all ethnicities, all religions, all countries of origins, all gender identities, all sexual orientations, all abilities and disabilities, all spoken languages, all ages, indeed everyone. My favorite, as you all have heard me talk about for many, many years, Ernest Holmes' quote is this: Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. In that vein of acknowledging the you, and knowing that our word has power when we speak it aloud, let's say this affirmation together. Ready? We welcome one and we welcome all. As a community, we come together to support individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Excuse me, my stamp of individuality needed to sneeze. It might do that again. And we teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. At its very core, the science of mind focuses on this principle of life. Change your thinking, change your life. The reason that that's of importance is because we're all one with the great mind of the divine. We teach in our philosophy, faith, and way of life that we're all interconnected through and as mind, uppercase M, and that we all individualize this mind, lowercase m, and use it in how we think, engage, act, react, and interact with the very thing itself. Remember, we're stamps of individualizations of that thing. And it's important that we pay attention to how we think and how we use our life through what we like to call spiritual practice. In other words, becoming aware of our awareness that we participate in the creation and co-creation of that which shows up in our life. It shows up in our life because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law. At its very core, that means that it provides to us, through us, experiences in life that's reflective of how we know ourselves to be, both humanly, individually, collectively, and divinely. And so it's important for us to practice affirming the qualities of the divine that we each are, which are peace and power, beauty and joy, light and life, and love and wisdom, which leads us directly back to our vision statement. Supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Individuals, all of the individuals of life, not just those that agree with us, but all there. We do that so that we can shift and change the vibrational frequency of life itself. One of the ways that we like to do that in this teaching and community is through our Sunday morning opening ritual, called Calling in the Light is what we call it. Many call it other things, but it's also known as lighting the flames of faith. I speak of how each and many different centers for spiritual living throughout the ages and currently use this ritual to open their service. I know that right now at this time that has just happened or is happening at the Center for Spiritual Living Granada Hills. I'd like for us to open our mind to think of not only what's transpiring for us while we're online, alive, not just alive, but live, but to also think of the vibrations that shifted in the different centers as this ritual has unfolded, just as it has at Granada Hills, both in their 9 a.m. service and currently in their 10:30 service. It's a great example for all of us to tune into that which we teach, that the energy and the vibration and the frequency of mind itself isn't bound by time or space, and we're all one with it and interconnected by it. And so it gives us a point of reference that as we move through this ritual, to know that we have impact, but the impact is taking place around the globe. Calling in the light. And so we bring this ritual together right now for the purpose of opening our mind to the great I am and focusing on the light, letting it be a shift in consciousness for us. And so as we look into the light on the screen, the flickering flame, may we become ever more aware of this light of life that exists in you and in me. And so we use the candle as a symbol, as a touchstone for our honoring the flames of faith. And we light this virtual candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, that which is known as the natural way. And I invite you to remember that Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. So each one of these traditions that we call and affirm and honor right now has all of these individualizations that are the stamps of the one thing, life itself. And so we also light this candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality, as well as for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. And for Judaism, taking a moment, as in Judaism they're honoring the high holy days right now, the kicking off of a new year, the cleansing of the soul, and rewriting and opening up to rewriting the life of the next calendar year. And so we light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law, as well as all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion, and all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love, as well as all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. I'm going to be addressing that today a little bit in my talk, as well as for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and of peace. And for that which we practice here, New Thought and all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. Bringing this all into a concise energy field and stream of light, we now declare this candle that's been lit as the healing candle. And I invite you to take a moment and think of someone that you'd either like to silently or audibly put into the light of the healing flame, which may include yourself, and I encourage that it does, so that all may experience the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. And then Teresa's going to take us through the song, Lighting the Flames of Faith. And I invite you to let this song anchor in for all of us, this energy, as she will guide you through any words to sing along with.
There is one flame burns in our hearts. There is one light shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
That's such a beautiful song, and I honor Ken Francis for creating that or revealing it, whatever the case may have been. Yes, and it anchors in. It's a good balance between the song "Calling in the Light," which we'll share with you at some point, that we typically sing on Sunday mornings, along with "Let There Be Peace," which we do at the end of the service now. But it's great. But it's a good balance of feeling the energy musically of completing what we just did in lighting the candles and honoring all of the different flames. Teresa, what song do you have for us next?
Well, the song that popped into my head this week was Let Go, Let God. It's actually written by Olivia Newton-John.
Really?
She has a whole big body of work. She's a big part of the Self-Realization Fellowship.
Uh-huh.
She has a whole lot of spiritual type songs.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm assuming you're going to do just what it tells you to do as you sing it. You're going to let go and let God.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, take it away.
Thank you. Yeah. When you can't find your direction and your heart won't guide you home, let go. Let God. When your dreams are broken in the dust and you've lost your will to trust, let go. Let God. Let the signs remind you we are passengers. Let the signs remind you to surrender. To surrender. Faith's a dying fire. There's no spark to feed the flame. Let go. Let God. When your courage fails you and the well of hope runs dry, let go. Let God. Let the signs remind you we are passengers. Let the signs remind you to surrender. Let go.
So, Teresa, uh-oh, there she is. So we've had some internet issues with Teresa, but as she was letting go and letting God took her onto a different frequency. And so that's all good. So I'm sure she and Trout. Hi, can you hear me, Teresa? She is frozen. So, so I'm sure that she will. She and Travis will get that worked out, and she will be back, and it will be such an example for us of what that looks like when you let go and you let the divine do its thing. And so, Travis, maybe you can send her a text to log off and reboot. That would be really wonderful if we could do that. And while that's happening and we have her frozen pic on the screen, we will know that the divine is radiating itself through her in all of its magnificence and glory. And we get to appreciate the stamp of individuality that has been placed upon her, Teresa James. When I'm looking at the Zoom screen on my television on the wall, it's just me. There we go. So Teresa will get all rebooted and ready for after the message. Isn't that such a perfect example for all of us of how so often in life shows up a bit different than what we expect it to be? And the key is, how do we respond? What's triggered within us? It could not be a more natural flow into our theme for the month of October, which is this: grace is happening through me. Now take that in again, putting it in the context of what we just got to witness and experience with technology, that which we have no control over. But we certainly have an opportunity when it does its thing as to how we respond. Grace is happening through me. I've been thinking a lot about grace and really doing my best to be conscious and a participant in grace of late in my life. And I think of the quote from Ramana Maharishi, who says, "Grace is ever present. All that is necessary is that you surrender to it." And that surrender is really a critical component. It's such a powerful statement, and I love that it comes from Ramana Maharishi, who at the age of 16 experienced a transformative spiritual awakening that led him to renounce his worldly possessions and seek a life of spiritual inquiry. On no level whatsoever today am I encouraging any of us to renounce our worldly possessions, but I am inviting us all to seek a broader life than ever before of spiritual inquiry. Ramana Maharishi's self-inquiry really engaged and encouraged every single individual to live life continually and repetitively asking the question, who am I? And to do that with the intention and the purpose of achieving self-realization while realizing that is a momentary experience, often one that I believe is fueled as grace. As I've shared with many of you before, I love to listen to music as a spiritual catalyst. And that song that we were just hearing, Let Go and Let God, as written by Olivia Neutron Bomb, that's what I like to call her. And if it was a neutron bomb, can explode within us the opportunity for a self-realization. But there's a song that I listen to a lot by Daniel Nahmod, and I'm sure Teresa knows him, and many of you may. Sorry, I keep scratching my nose. It's just itching, and itching. And here are the lyrics, and the title is My Soul Remembers. And I believe it speaks to the power that is both God and the thing itself, and that which is imbued with the qualities of life, which include grace. And it's this: my soul remembers your voice. When all I hear is my frustration and doubt, my soul remembers your grace. When the hurt is searing as a desert, still I never go without, for my soul remembers your touch. When my body yearns to be cradled as a child, my soul remembers your strength. When a heavy burden's weighing on me, I'm sheltered all the while. Whether at war or at peace, awake or asleep, whether I'm walking the streets or diving the ocean so deep, whether it's winter or spring, whether I cry or sing, oh, my soul remembers. My soul remembers your power. When I fear I cannot do what must be done, my soul remembers your mercy, blessing the deepest doubt I harbor with the heat of the sun. My soul remembers your love. When the world is bearing unbearable pain, my soul remembers your love. Shimmering over us, a rainbow rising after the rain, my soul remembers your love. Now, what I love, pun intended, I guess, about these lyrics is it brings it back to the individual. It's saying, for me, the individualized expression of that which is, to tap into the qualities of the thing itself, is that it's my role, my responsibility, if you will, my opportunity to choose to tap into that within me that remembers that it's all already there. Well, what are we tapping into? We're tapping into that power that we call spirit. It's that ever-present, infinite energy source that is expressing itself always through all of us, through life, because it is life itself. And it's there to provide for us, should we be willing to tune into it, its nature, its divine nature, a shift, an opportunity to create a shift in mind and ultimately experience that shift in form. In A Course in Miracles, when they talk about grace, they say spirit is in a state of grace forever. Your reality is only spirit. Therefore, you, the individual, are in a state of grace forever. Today, as I often do at least once a year, want you and I to open up to grace in a new way. Our theme for the month is grace doesn't just exist, but is happening through me. I invite you and I and all of us to open up to be that conduit, that avenue by which grace exists and is happening and is expressing and is manifesting itself as itself through you, through me, infinitely, always, not just existentially, but experientially. One of our New Thought texts for the day this week read this: in the conscious practice of gratitude, joy, peace, love, and ease become more apparent as a mindset. I believe that grace is a quality of God, just like peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. I'm going to add that in the context of this quote so that we can use it as we're moving into a development of consciousness of grace, and diving into how we can curate it in our lives so that we can experience it in our life, because we're making it become a conscious part of our consciousness. In the conscious practice of gratitude and grace, joy, peace, love, and ease, and grace become more apparent as a mindset. As we seek to have more of these qualities, joy, peace, love, ease, and grace, become manifested in our lives, we must first choose to express them for a transformation to take place, not wait for them to be experienced. In other words, we must choose to embody that which we desire to experience. This is how it works. The great absolutist in the teachings of the science of mind, Joel Goldsmith, meaning that absolutists, which was a part of the early part of the 20th century, these gentlemen and women and practitioners of the absolute nature of New Thought, which believed that there is no gray in life. As we've evolved over time, we believe that there can be some gray, not in how the principle works, but in how our mind evolves into its use of it. Writes this: grace is not something that's given to us or withheld from us. Grace is a state of being which comes into active expression the moment consciousness has been purified. Now, many have issues with that word, purified. But I'm going to explain what I believe he means by it. I'm going to read it again and then explain it. Grace is not something that's been given to us or withheld from us. Grace as a state of being which comes into active expression the moment consciousness has been purified. I believe that what he means is that the minute that we've done our best to relieve our consciousness of anything that isn't reflective of its innate nature. That's what he means by purified. So that's the moment that consciousness has been purified. That's that moment of experiencing grace. That's that moment of spiritual awakening. That is that moment of self-realization, if you will. And he says this happens just as the law of gravity comes into operation when an object is dropped, meaning that it's happening moment by moment by moment. It isn't a static situation, it's an ecstatic scenario in life. And you and I both know that because mind is acted upon by the law of life and then provides for us an experience in life that we can then perceive and process and think about, which then affects our consciousness, and the law then responds, if we were to look at it in that manufacturing way, if you will, while also understanding that it's not bound by time or space and it's not linear, it is just happening. It's cyclical, circular happening. He goes on to say, the law of gravity is always present and in operation, but nothing happens until an object is released, meaning that for us to experience gravity, we have to release the object so that we can witness it being dropped and crashing into that which is perceived as hard matter below. And then we're like, it's working. But it never stopped working. It's just you and I are perceiving of its working in a new way. And then hopefully, intentionally, awakening to a new consciousness, a mindset to then participate in using it in a way that is effective for us in life the next time we consciously participate in gravity. That is the same thing I'm inviting us to do into the quality and the concept of grace. Goldsmith probably says it a lot better than I'm attempting to say it, even though I think I'm saying it pretty good. He goes, divine grace is forever present in our consciousness, but it cannot operate, that is, it cannot manifest or express in the presence of fear or hate. That's when it's impure. So we must then tap into it as love. It cannot exist side by side with the belief of a selfhood apart from God, or an activity or substance or law apart from good. What he's telling us is that you and I must be willing to confront fear and hate or anything that is contrary to love or peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, wisdom, and grace in our life. And as we confront it and invite in that which is our innate nature, that just like gravity works, so shall the law of life, to bring forth through us an experience that reflects it. That's how grace shows up in our life. The song we all know, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me, it's through that act that is addressed in those lyrics of saving the wretch like me. Isn't the saving that it came in and swooped in as a savior in the traditional sense. It saved the wretch because it provided an opportunity for a new perspective, a new way of being, a new way of viewing the power that one calls God. It's just in that which we teach is God is not some external energy doing the work from afar. It is that which we're already imbued with, waiting for us to recognize it, honor it, acknowledge it, and then let it do its thing through us. But for you and I to have that experience, we must let go, as the song said, and let God. And not let go through fear or hate, but to let go through faith, through love, through a willingness, through an openness to experience the new, and understanding that the new is new to us because it's meeting us in a consciousness that is new, never been experienced or expressed before. And that can only exist when we're willing to let go, to surrender. The great Alan Alda tells us we must do this in practical terms versus Joel Goldsmith absolutism terms. You have to leave the city of your comfort and go into the wilderness of your intuition. What you'll discover will be wonderful. What you'll discover is yourself. For us to let our intuition, the wilderness of our intuition, guide us, we must be willing to surrender to our perceived, our state of delusion, of control, that we're controlling what's going on in life. We addressed this earlier in how Teresa allows music to move through her. She and I talked about yesterday how that happens because she's had years of experience of trusting the power. I've learned to do that in speaking. You all, each one of you, have learned to do that in various ways in your life. The question is, has your soul forgotten how to do that? And is today the day that you're willing to step into the journey of surrender, of leaving the city of your comfort, and allow your intuition to guide you through the wilderness of it, realizing that it's not some desert where you're going, it's actually a very fertile ground of creativity, that it's the power of surrender where we get to experience the fertility, the fruits of the divine itself. Where does that happen? It happens in the moment, by moment, by moment. Many of you I know watched the service last week in Granada Hills, where my talk was titled, "What Time Is Now?" It was with great intention I used that talk because I believe, and I truly believe, and I invite us and encourage each and every one of us on our spiritual journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening and setting the intention to tune into that which we are imbued with and to invite in and experience grace in new ways in our life. We must live in the moment of now, and then now, and then now. We must set a foundational place in mind of living moment by moment by moment, because it's in the moment where the power is. The great Eckhart Tolle, in the book The Power of Now, and the journal that goes with that, writes this: the truth is that the only power there is, now hear this again, the only power there is contained within the moment. It's the power of your presence. He's not just saying the presence, he's saying the power of your presence. It's the power of our recognition of the presence that is. So we are critical to the now. Therefore, we are critical to moving into and acknowledging the now. And we're critical in doing that and understanding that the only way to do that is to surrender. Olivia Newton-John's words, let go and let God, so that you and I can tap into our intuition, the wilderness of it, right? Meaning that which is yet to have been explored. And once we explore it, we need to let go and move into the wilderness of our intuition, meaning to explore that which is revealed in the next now, and then experience it, and then move into the wilderness of our intuition so that we may experience the next now. That's the way it works. And to build up this faith reservoir, this trust reservoir, to know that as we navigate the now and the now and the now through this activity of mind, of trust and intuition, and be excited about the wilderness, it's there that we get to experience and express grace, a quality of God, in a new way, and then remind ourselves that what our role is in this journey is to be open and to constantly be shifting our definition, not only of grace, but of God and who we are as the presence of the now, which is the only place it can be contained, as Tolle tells us, because there is where the truth exists, that the only power that there is, and it's the power of your and my presence. That, by God, literally is what we call spiritual power. Now, Holmes addresses spiritual power in just a little different way, equally as valuable, of course. He says spiritual power, Holmes meaning that which was the vehicle to reveal and create the science of mind, that teaching that we love and adore so much. He says spiritual power arises from a consciousness of our unity with the whole, so a consciousness of our unity with the whole, and an awareness of the direct responsiveness of the Spirit to us. I love this quote, and I've been reading it and using it and reading it over and over the last few weeks, because I love the depth and meaning of it, but also the and-ness of it. Spiritual power arises from a consciousness of our unity, in other words, a mindset of accepting that there is only one thing and it's all interconnected, unity, with itself, and an awareness of the direct responsive of the Spirit to us. And we're saying that's where spiritual power lies. He's not saying that anything that you and I do changes that. He's saying that we, the only power there is, according to Tolle, exists in the power of our presence. That presence is radiating, manifesting, experiencing, and expressing itself as spiritual power. Holmes says that arises, that exists within us from a consciousness of unity with the whole that can only take place in our mind, with our intention, with our purpose, with our decision to surrender to it and to be it, and an awareness, meaning a conscious awareness that the direct responses of the Spirit happens to us, through us. And what do we do with that? He goes on to say its creativeness being with and in us, it is ever available, not as some far-off divine event towards which the whole creation moved, but as a thing that Walt Whitman meant when he said that within us nestles the seed of perfection. That seed of perfection makes itself known through us as grace. And It shows up in a multitude of ways through each of us because it meets us where we are at in consciousness. And remember, as consciousness, we're expressing ourselves as the stamp of individuality, right? And so therefore, grace shows up differently for each one of us, differently all the time, because it's not really managed by time or expressed by times. It shows up and the now and the now and the now. Emerson meant this when he said to us that love nods to love behind each of us. It's the thing all spiritual enlightenment has recognized, that the power itself is incarnated in the individual. The question is, are you willing to awaken to it today? Are you willing to open up to the present now, and the power of life that we're each imbued with in that moment? It's there that transformation can happen. Tolle says most humans are not fully present in the now because unconsciously they believe that the next moment must be more important than this one. But if you live that way, he says, you miss your whole life, which is never not now, right? And that's a revelation for some people to realize that your life is only ever now. Grace. Grace. It's happening through me. Say that aloud. Grace is happening through me. I believe that when we affirm that aloud, when we begin to curate that as a mindset, when we begin to own that as our reality, then of course we get to experience more of that which is. The great Cheryl Richardson writes this about grace. She says, grace from a modern day perspective is viewed differently today, not with halos or skies opening us. Grace comes from the Latin word gratia, meaning favor, charm, or thanks. Spiritual traditions from around the world each share a similar understanding of this world. For example, in Sanskrit, grace is akin to the word nati, which means he praises, or to call or invoke. In Christian terms, grace is defined as the infinite love, mercy, favor, and goodwill shown by God to humankind. In Judaism, the concept of grace is expressed by the Hebrew word hesed, meaning mercy or loving kindness. Grace is seen as a creative force, an act of exceptional kindness and goodness. Ms. Richardson goes on to write, and my friend Lama Surya Das, author of Awakening the Buddha Within and a leading Buddhist teacher, says, grace, and I love this, is the isness of life. Grace, which is happening through me, you, remember, is the isness of life. It's the recognition that everything is connected, sacred. The more in touch we are with this natural abundance of life, the less we need. Unpack that for yourself. Grace, it's the recognition that everything is connected and sacred. Now, I love the latter part of that. It's not all just connected, but it's all sacred. And you and I get to decide for ourselves, and I invite you to decide for yourself, and then give yourself the gift to decide again for yourself, and decide again for yourself in each moment of now, and now, and now, and now. Not what you just think sacred is, but what you get to feel and bear witness to that sacred is. Allow yourself and the journey of spiritual awakening to be sacred in and of itself, and in that journey, you will, the individual, tune in more to the natural abundance of life, meaning then the less you'll need of any external satisfaction. Cheryl Richardson says, to me, love this too, grace is a kind of spiritual intelligence, a form of energy that comes from the divine source. This energy is available. It's available. This energy as spiritual intelligence, which exists within you and within me, she says, is available to each and every one of us at any moment, meaning each now it's available to us. And when we connect with and trust this higher power and then follow its lead, we step into alignment with a larger vision for our lives. I know for each and every one of us, we hold that larger vision even when we're unclear of what it is. We know deep within us that that is what we desire. And I'm going to affirm for each and every one of us, it's that we live our lives more and more in alignment with the grace that is. More and more in alignment with letting the spiritual intelligence guide us. More and more with being fully expressed as the isness of life. Shaw Richardson goes on to write, we wake up now that we're ready for this larger vision of our lives and suddenly become aware of signs, symbols, and messages that lead us to our highest good. How do you arrive at a place where you view your life from this perspective? She says, by opening your eyes and your heart to a new way of looking at yourself and the world. One decision is all it takes to get started. From there, your life can change in ways you never could imagine. I'm going to share with you a way that I have committed to being more tuned into grace in my life. There are an abundance of squirrels that have showed up around my house and in my neighborhood of late. And my beloved four-legged spiritual offspring, Sweeney, which many of you know of, gets really excited when she sees them or sniffs them or smells them. And in her excitement of connecting to the interconnectedness of the oneness of life that's being expressed as a squirrel, she's become a bit aggressive in communicating with them. And my understanding is probably wants to eat them. But I've made the decision to communicate with her to not do that, to appreciate them, to talk lovingly to them. Now, you may think that that sounds very far-fetched and high-minded and maybe even a bit delusional, but it hasn't. There have been numerous times that as she's talked to them, I've been saying to her, share love with them, show love with them. You don't want to hurt them. And I literally hear her barking change to, I can feel the energy of her energy changing towards them as my energy changes towards her. I believe that that is reminding us of our interconnectedness, of this wholeness that we are all one with, of this spiritual intelligence that Richards writes about that we have within us that she calls grace. Today, I invite each and every one of you to be open to turning possibilities into realities through a spiritual awakening in your life and doing it in a new way. To let go of some old idea of how grace is supposed to show up in life. Not look at it as some mystical miracle from some outside source reaching in and changing your life so that you have salvation and have the ability to then have a new perspective. Be the new perspective in action. Call upon the grace that's already within you and within me to make itself known. Do just as I've been encouraging us for the last few weeks to use the spiritual intelligence within you and within me and the faith that we have and the oneness that we all know and the power of now as a spiritual experiment to the best of our ability, thought by thought, action by action, reaction by reaction, and interaction by interaction, and to not let the events and the consciousness and the worldview of what's taking place in the external world today be the basis or foundation from how we engage in life. Let's remember that we have the opportunity before us to awaken to spiritual awakenings as we continue to be awake on our journey of finding personal self-empowerment. It's already there within us, calling forth a new way to be. And I affirm that's going to exist and happen and express itself through you and through me from this moment forward. I'm going to close with lyrics of a song that I thought of Jody Siegel. But that Teresa's going to sing for us in just a moment. I'm going to read these lyrics so that when you hear her sing them, it's a reaffirmation of a calling that we've already said yes to as grace is present within our life, readying itself to manifest itself. Here they are. Through my window as the storm blows, I see flowers in the rain. Past the thunder and the lightning, I'm praying for a change. So when my little boy grows up to be a man, love will be the law of the land. And I'm calling on grace. Spreading the word all over the place. Yeah, I'm calling on love. Dialing it up because we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. I see one love and one world with no walls to separate us. I see beauty and laughter from the kindness in God we trust, and the only tears that fall in the night will be the tears of joy because everything's all right. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Yeah, I'm calling on love, dialing it up because we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. So let the first be the last and the last first today. The world can start turning in a whole different way. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the world all over the place. Yeah, I'm calling on love as I am calling on love because we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. Take it away, Teresa James.
Through my window, as the storm blows, I see flowers in the rain. I see thunder and lightning. I am praying for a change. So when my little boy grows up to be a man, love will be the law of the land. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Yeah, I'm calling on love, dialing it up, 'cause we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. I see one love and one world with no walls to separate us. I see beauty and laughter from kindness. In God we trust, and the only tears that fall in the night will be tears of joy, 'cause everything's alright. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Yeah, I'm calling on love, dialing it up, 'cause we need it the most. Yeah, we need it the most. So let the first be last, and the last first today, and the world can start turning in a whole different way. And I'm calling on grace, spreading the word all over the place. Yeah, and I'm calling on love, dialing it
lovely. Such a beautiful song.
Isn't it? Jody Siegel. She's
I
got a
thought you said it was Jody Siegel. That's when I said Jody, I had her
oh,
in
okay. It's
mind.
a
Yeah.
Jody Siegel song.
So lovely. Teresa, thank you so very much for being here today and for being a musician in our list now. You're a new musician here. You're going to be part
I
of the
know. I'm
CSL-LA
excited.
family.
Sorry I disappeared. My computer decided to do an update in the middle of that song. I don't
I
know.
believe that is what's called life. You know?
Cut it too bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it
that's going to
happens,
be
right?
erased.
I was speaking to a metaphysical minister recently. Something went down in her life, and she was beating herself up. And I said to her, "You need to take a breath." She's like, "What am I?" She goes, "I don't know what's going on." I said, "Well, let me tell you what's going on. Like, all of a sudden, you're being human. Like, you're being human." And
That's the truth. Yeah,
she goes, "You're actually right." I'm like, "Yeah, it happens. We're all humans. This stuff happens." So,
there you go.
I'm
Well,
so glad
thank
you're
you
here,
for having
and
me.
it was that's I don't know if you could hear it was the perfect segue into my message that computers do their things, right? That's Grace showing up in a different way than we thought it was going to. So
It always
all
does.
good, all perfect. So I know you've got one more song we're going to close out with. Let there be peace on earth. But thank you for being here. Know that we're loving having you here and just love your vibe.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you.
like I said, I was so hoping you would ask me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, so thank you. So big thank you to all of you for being here today. A thank you to Travis for taking care of us technologically. He does a great job, huh, Teresa? Travis Demand, right? And a big thank you to Robert Hensley, our administrative assistant and technology support and social media, who I believe is in Pennsylvania still. So I'm glad he survived and nothing got him too bad with Hurricane Helene. I do want to let you guys know that our Center for Spiritual Living in Asheville, North Carolina, and in the Sarasota area, both has issues. So we'll be stepping up for them in a way in the next week or so to do that, as well as one of our beloved musicians and ministers who we support all the time, Amy Steinberg, who lives in Asheville. She's fine, but definitely has experienced some devastation. So watch out for her on social media. If you guys want to support her in any way, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to put you in touch with her. And she's working really diligently and hard to continue giving of her art in a way to support her community, which has just been devastated by Helene. So I'm happy to answer any questions you all may know. Over the next week, please continue to watch out for our new thought text for the day, as well as our weekly e-newsletter that goes out on Wednesday. Our Monday, we do our midweek morning meditation on Monday. I'd like to invite you all to support us financially. You can go to our website and do that, as well as our app in the App Store. Would love to invite you that if you support us through technology, especially PayPal, but you can also use Zelle if you'd like to do that. With Zelle, there's no fee. And if you go through PayPal, we would invite you to, as it gives you an option to pay the fee so that we don't incur that fee for that. But just know that all of your support is deeply, deeply appreciated, and we honor and acknowledge you for being a conscious participant in the good that flows and is CSL-LA. Well, I know that it's been a while since we'll be in person again, October 20th, but we'll be back in 2 weeks, and so I look forward to sharing all of that with you then. And so let's just affirm and know that we are indeed making a difference in our own lives by being the grace, the essence of life itself, and that is making a difference on our planet. So Teresa's going to take us out with the song Let There Be Peace on Earth. I invite you to sing along if that feels good for you. If you're on Zoom and would like to stay on just a little moment after and say hello, we'll do that. So take it away, Teresa.
All righty, here we go. Don't be shy. Y'all are just home. Nobody's going to hear you. It's okay to sing along. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take each moment and live each moment, peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, let it begin with me.
And so it is. Everybody have a fabulous week and spread your grace, baby. Spread it, spread it, spread it. Thank you. If you're joining us on Zoom, give us just a moment and we will be right here ready for you to say a brief hello.